What's up, everybody? We are back for another episode of Palm City Chucks. We are going to get right into things today, recapping what happened in college football last weekend. Kris, first game for you. Notre Dame, Northern Illinois. How
Ooh.
about that?
Oh, I loved it personally. I thought it was great. And I even thought Notre Dame had help from the refs there at the end. Um, that was some
Oh, I
BS.
agree. That was
Yeah,
that was terrible. Absolutely terrible.
that was horrible. Gotta hate when an underdog's given the business and the refs interfere with the outcome. But luckily, they came up short. And yeah, Northern Illinois with the 16-14 win. And yeah, I'm all about it. I loved it.
No, it was awesome. That might be the best game all year already here
Yeah,
in
I
week
know, right?
two. I don't know that we're going to see a bigger upset. It was really awesome to watch, and I think my favorite thing about that game actually came after it ended. The coach's sideline interview. Did you happen to catch that?
No, I don't think so. No.
No, it was great. He was clearly just super emotional, really happy for his guys. There were
Oh
some
yeah,
tears, couldn't speak. It was so raw and awesome. I just
that
so
is
happy
awesome.
for him. It was a great win for the program.
Yeah, and I mean that makes things interesting too with the 12-team playoff and all too, because like they don't have many other tough games, which may hurt them, but like they have a chance to win out now, and if they do with that win against Notre Dame, that makes things interesting. But yeah, curious how it all plays out. But yeah, it was a great game, and like you said, definitely a chance at the best one of the year already.
No, I agree. That definitely had some playoff implications on both sides there. That's a really bad
Oh
loss for
yeah,
Notre Dame, a team that already
yes.
already can't win their conference because
Mm-hmm.
they're not in one.
Yeah. Another
So
reason
that
to
loss
hate them.
really hurts them. This is true. This is true. And as you said, for Northern Illinois, like that was probably their toughest game on the schedule.
Yeah, it
If
is.
they
I
do make
looked.
a
They
run
have
here,
they have one other tough opponent, and I'm completely blanking on who it is, but it's not a Notre Dame level threat. So they got a shot. They went out.
I
Who knows?
I mean, even if that other game, whoever that is a loss for them. If they win every other game, they very well could take that 12 seed for
Yeah.
um, the champion that's outside of the top 12 in the rankings,
Right.
but they might win the MAC. So that's
Yeah.
totally in play for them now, which is
Yeah.
it's really awesome.
It is. It's awesome. I love college.
No, it
Freaking
was it
awesome.
was great to
It's
watch.
always
Great
craziness.
to watch.
Um,
Yeah.
Not so crazy in the top 25 matchups we discussed last week, though. We had Tennessee take on NC State, and that was just a steamroll, 51-10, Tennessee. So both of us having NC State in our playoff bracket, I don't know how I feel now, because I thought we both predicted Tennessee to win that game, and we were correct, but we were a little too correct because they just didn't look competitive at all in that matchup, and that's not what I expected. I expected a loss, but 7-10 points, something like that.
No, I agree. NC State just looked completely outmatched there.
Oh
They
yeah,
didn't even belong on the same field as Tennessee.
right.
So I'm on the same page as you, where I've got NC State in the
Yeah,
playoff, but
we messed up.
after 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 that showing, I'm not so sure anymore. But
Right.
it's fine. It's fine. We roll. We roll.
Yeah.
Um, On to the next one. Same thing. Texas, Michigan. We both picked
Yeah.
Texas there. Turned out to be right. And this was more of a scoreline that I did expect. As I
Right.
mentioned last
Yes.
week, I wouldn't be surprised if Michigan is barely in the top 25 come the end of
Hmm.
the year, if not entirely out of it. And I think they looked the part this past
Yes.
Saturday. Texas
Yep.
completely controlled that game. There was nothing that they could do at all. They did absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I agree. This is kind of what I expected as well. I mean, maybe a little closer. We had 31-12, but yeah, I was not surprised by the shellacking Texas put on them. Yeah, I just don't think it's that same Michigan team that gave you headaches for years.
Really? Really? Had to go there?
Pew pew.
I mean, you're not wrong. I've made it loud and clear that Penn State well, I can't say cannot. Don't play them this year, although I'd love to, because this would be a year I think we'd beat them. Actually, let me check myself, because I could be totally wrong there based on how Penn State played this past weekend. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I was sitting there watching that game, just completely stressed the entire time. And that is not how that game should have gone. Penn State's strength is typically their defense, and oh my gosh, what were we doing? Bowling
Swiss
Green
cheese.
Just again and again and again and again. Down the field, no resistance at all. I mean, the second half was a little better, don't get me wrong, but it still wasn't as good as it should have been against a team like Bowling Green. Mm-hmm. But I mean, they pulled it out in the end. That's what matters. They got the W in the win column, and hopefully they'll take the bye week that they've got coming this weekend and reset a little bit. So I'm actually quite pleased they've got the bye week. I think they need it. James Franklin needs to talk to his defensive coordinator, Tim Allen, and tell him, hey, figure this out, to put it nicely. Hey, I thought about it. I'm not gonna lie. I did think about it. I'm not heated, but it was just an absolutely.
No, it's cool of Penn State to give you a good game when you didn't expect one. LSU did the same for a while there against Nichols. Ended up coming out on top 44-21. But this should be one of them games where it's like 70-0, and in the first half there they were hanging. It ended up being 23-14 at the end of the first half, so LSU kind of had some comfort there. But yeah, early on, it was tough to see them struggle with a team like that. But yeah, I don't know. We both have some figuring out to do for our teams, that's for sure. But yeah,
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
But we got some good matchups this week. 2 top 25 matchups again. We got Arizona going to Kansas State. That's a 20 seed going to a 14. And then we have 24 Boston College going to number 6 Missouri. What do you expect in those games?
So I'll start with the one that you mentioned second there, Boston College v. Missouri. Don't get me wrong, Boston College looked very good against FSU, but I don't think FSU is as good as many people thought. And Missouri is you're not wrong. DJ Uiagalelei should not be their starting quarterback, shouldn't be a starting quarterback for any Power 5 conference team, in my opinion.
We're going to make a point to roast him every week, folks. So get ready. This poor man.
He earned it. Yeah. But yeah, to finish that, I think Missouri is a very, very good team. So I think Missouri's going to take that game.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is one kind of like Texas, Michigan, but probably even worse. Expect a easy win for Mizzou. But yeah, then we got 20 Arizona going 14 Kansas State. I took a look at their past games. Arizona has yet to be tested. This will be their first test, and it's on the road. Kansas State kind of had a test. They went to Tulane, which I think is a solid team. I almost picked them to be my 12 seed in the college playoff. But yeah, I think they're solid, and Kansas State took care of them. Now they're at home going up against Arizona, who's untested. I think they come out on top.
Yeah, I mean, for that one, I have Arizona in that one.
Cool.
I mentioned their wide receiver. I can't remember which first or the second episode, but the kid is a baller, and I'm not sure Kansas State has anybody who can match up against him. He's just a huge physical unit. It's like 6'5". It's huge. And I think he's going to tear up Kansas State. I like he's going to tear up many, many opposing teams this year. So I think Arizona's going to go into Kansas State and surprise a little bit. I think they're going to take that game.
Cool.
There's one other game I'd like us to talk about a little bit before we move on, and that is the rivalry between Oregon State. Oregon, on paper, the much better team. But
Yes.
I'd like to hear, do you think Oregon State puts up any kind of challenge
Definitely.
there?
Yeah, I do. Oregon already struggled with Boise State mightily, and then now we have all this history, and it just means so much in college, these rivalry games. Obviously, they're huge in the NFL, but in college, I think they're even bigger. And these are kids playing. That added pressure can sometimes, affect play from these guys. And I think it'll be a good game. But I do think Oregon will still manage. But yeah, I don't expect a blowout here. I think it's gonna be another close one for the Ducks.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be super close. I'm kind of expecting 14 to 17 points kind of win in there, which for a team like Oregon going up against Oregon State, it should definitely be
Yeah.
a bigger margin at the
Right.
end of the game. So it's going to be closer than it should, for all those reasons you said. Like, it's a rivalry, and these are young kids, so they're so passionate. They want to
Yeah.
win so bad,
Oh,
so they're going to
gosh.
fight so hard.
Yep.
So I think it's going to be a good game. Absolutely.
Definitely. And I could
Absolutely.
see like Oregon pulling away late too. Like that kind of prediction, 14, 17 points, but it's a one possession game 90% of the game. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I could totally see that happening. So lots to look forward there in week 3 of college football. Let's move on to recap week 1 of the NFL.
Ooh.
What an exciting week it was. It was crazy. Let's start with the Thursday night game, Chiefs-Ravens. What were your takeaways from that?
I mean, it came down to the last play of the game. What more do you want? But yeah, I loved it. Not from a fantasy point of view, because Andrews was rough, and that's killing me already. But I digress. But yeah, it was a great game. It's kind of what we expected. Pretty close battle. Both teams won it bad, even though it's week 1. And I mean, that's the beauty of the NFL. Every game matters. But you could tell there was a little something extra in this game, and Lamar had something to prove. And I think that had something to do with his many carries, his many runs, because I mean, he's a slight guy. I don't think he should be running that often. But yeah, he wanted this game.
I mean, he's already hurt. He's already hurt.
Oh yeah,
Like,
I
he's
didn't
gonna
even know
play,
that.
but he's
What did
already
he-
extremely sore. No, it's nothing specific. It's just he's extremely sore. So he
Great.
definitely.
So he's going to
tucked and
have
ran
nagging
a
injuries
few
the
too
rest of
many
the year.
times. Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Which that's
I mean,
life of an
and-
NFL player, honestly. But
But
yeah,
at the
it was a
same
great
time,
game.
too, he might have felt like he had to tuck and run a little bit because there were quite a few throws he missed. To be honest,
yeah, I agree with that.
Lamar continues to underwhelm me with his arm. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes he makes some great throws. He's got a cannon, but
Yeah.
the decision making, the deep ball accuracy, I haven't seen it yet in his
Yep.
time in the NFL, and we've got quite a few years of tape on him at this
Oh,
point.
yeah.
And I don't know that he's ever going to develop it. He's an
Right.
elite running quarterback, and he makes the throws when he needs to. Clearly, he's one of the top quarterbacks in the league because he takes the Ravens to the playoffs and a great record every year. Don't get me
Yep.
wrong. Their defense deserves a lot of credit for that because their
Yes.
defense is always great.
Always.
But if he could be a little bit better of a passer, I honestly think that might be what they're missing. Don't get me wrong, their receiving core is not up to par with a lot of the other top teams. But with what they got there, if Lamar could put the ball on him a little better, I really think they could make it work. I
Yeah.
really do.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the two-headed monster at tight end, which, yeah, I'm calling it that. Likely has earned that already. But, yeah, Flowers, and I think Bateman's solid. Like, kind of to your point,
Oh, yeah.
I wonder what kind of career he would have to this point if it wasn't Lamar slinging the pigskin. Because, I think he has something. He's got decent size, and the speed's there. The separation is there. I mean, I saw like a separation stat. He's like I want to say top 5 maybe in the league of getting separation. It might have been top 10, but I'm pretty sure it was like a real eye opener because this guy doesn't produce the
Somewhere up there,
stats.
yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't produce the stats to support that. So when I read it, I was like, "Whoa,
No,
mama!" But yeah,
I think
he's
that's
got
just even more to
weapons,
support our argument on Lamar there. Like,
right? Yeah,
his guys are clearly creating separation. He's got the big
mm-hmm.
targets in Andrews, and as you said, now the second monster there, Isaiah Likely.
Yes.
Which, to be honest, I just got to say, I fully expected that when he got more chances, he would be like this. Because whenever he stepped in for Andrews last year, he was amazing.
Yeah.
Always produced. So
he moves way too good for his size. Way too good.
Oh,
And that's so
he
deadly.
is.
These receivers playing tight end in this league, I mean, we see what happens. Like Travis Kelce, obviously, and there's so many others. But, yeah, when you're a receiver playing tight end, they'll sacrifice your iffy blocking to keep you out on the field. But I don't know if you saw, he pancaked, I think it was Karlaftis, on one play
I did not catch
Thursday
that.
night. Yeah, just blew him up. And it was crazy to see. I mean, that's a big D end, and he just caked him. And it wasn't even like the, grab and hold, drive him to the ground. Like, he just blew him up. And, once I saw that, I was really scared about Andrews for my fantasy.
You should be.
Yeah. No, it's a long season. The guy was in a car crash. It's going to take a second, He missed some time.
Man, I really thought about that a lot because, like I said last year, Likely great. This year, Andrews outsnapped at Likely, and Likely still way outproduced. I think it will be closer to even, but I seriously think this is the year that Likely takes over as tight end 1 in Baltimore, and I wouldn't be surprised if it happens in this first quarter, latest front half of the season. I think he is an animal as a receiving tight end.
Yeah.
So I really expect that to happen.
We see it all the time. It's happened to Zach Ertz numerous times. Eagles did it with Dallas Goedert, and then McBride with the Cardinals. Like, we see this all the time. You get a good tight end to teach the young kid the ropes, and then it's game over for the old head. Which Andrews isn't even that old, but I agree. His days as tight end number 1 are dwindling for sure.
Not a bad problem to have.
No, not
so
at
let's
all.
switch to the other end here. The Chiefs. I mean, they look like the Chiefs. They're such a good football team. It's ridiculous.
They are.
You and I both thought that they might go in and drop this game, and they proved us wrong. Let me tell you that. Xavier Worthy looks awesome.
Yeah.
How he
The
looked
speed's
coming out of
crazy.
the break on his first touchdown, the end around, he
Yeah,
just
the
absolutely
run,
took off. Absolutely
Yeah.
took off. And then another
Yeah, the
deep
kid's got
touchdown
jets.
receiving later in the game.
Yeah. Which that was a gimme,
He
but
paired up.
yeah,
It was.
yeah. And that's Andy too. I mean, Andy's gonna scheme these guys open, and it's unbelievable. I mean, we see it with all the teams and their number 1 receivers. Like, how the heck is this guy open? Like, you should have 4 eyeballs on this guy at all times. But yeah, Andy
At the
did
same
it again.
time, it is a
and the
rookie in his
Chiefs did it
first
again.
game.
Yeah,
Rookie in
that's
his
true.
first game. So they probably were paying a little more attention to a guy named Travis Kelce that's kind of been, okay over
He's
the
done
past
some
few
things.
years.
Yeah, he's done some
Yeah,
things.
he's done some things.
Rice looked great as well. I mean, the
Oh, he
weapons
did.
are back. The Chiefs have weapons, and that scares me.
That is not a good thing for the rest of the NFL.
Yeah, I was saying to my family and some friends at work, I was like maybe halfway into this game, like it was close to halftime. This is the first game of the NFL season. Like, we're back, baby. And I was literally like, I am tired of watching the Chiefs. Like, I was literally, I'm done. This is annoying. And I watched the whole game, and I'm glad I did because it came down to that last play. But yeah, they're just so good, dude. It's frustrating.
Yeah, no,
and if they play this
are.
well all regular season, I mean, my gosh, they're gonna be the 1 seed. They're They're going to have home field throughout. Like, I was banking on kind of more of last year. Like, they just kind of wait till playoffs start and then turn it on.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, so far, they just came right out the gates with it turned on. And they didn't miss a beat. And I think that offense has improved. So it's scary for the rest of the league for sure.
No, absolutely improved. One last thing before we move on to the Friday game. We kept talking about that.
Yes.
Coming down to the last play. It should have never even came down to that play. Back to what I said earlier. Lamar straight up missed Zay Flowers wide open in the back of the end zone.
Yes, he
did. That was ridiculous.
That was terrible.
You can't miss that as an NFL quarterback.
No.
You can't miss that.
Yeah, that was one of those.
Especially as bad as he did. He couldn't even get hands on that.
Yeah. Yeah. That was one of those plays you're sitting on the couch and you're like, I could have made that throw. Like, I'm Joe Schmo out here.
Buddy.
Oh, I could have slinged that in there, dude. Come on. That was pedestrian. But yeah, that was nasty. You hate to see it, especially picking the Ravens to win, wanting the Ravens to win. Yeah, that was frustrating for sure. And as we saw after the likely play, Harbaugh was ready to go for two. And how fun would have that been
100%.
to watch that play. But, yeah, that was great. Can we talk about Friday?
Yeah, we can talk about Friday.
We can talk
you
about
start
Friday.
so that I can tear you apart after you give me your piece.
Oh, okay then. Go Birds, Fly Eagles Fly, EAGLES, all that. What a great game. They looked sloppy. They had moments where they looked bad, like kind of little PTSD from last year at times. And they beat a contender. Like, that's what I'm talking about. You make those mistakes and you still come out on top. Let's talk about this defense. The Packers, their first two possessions started on our side of the field, and we hold them to 6. What more do you want? And, yeah, they gave up 29 when it was all said and done. Like, that's a fair bit of points. But we're talking about a probably top 5 offense. I mean, close to it, if not, in the Packers. And to give them that kind of opportunity out the gates and to just never really lose the game, like never really let them pull away. And, yeah, we made it work and we made it happen. But, yeah, a lot of things I'm not happy about still. I mean, we got to clean that stuff up. And I know this is week 1, and Sirianni refuses to play the boys in preseason. But, you know, he's 4-0 in week 1 since being the Eagles head coach. So maybe he's on to something. But, you know, I just don't like it. You get that nasty rust to start the game. And against a good team like the Packers, like, I thought it might put us away. But we held them to field goals, and we stayed in the game. And we got Saquon Barkley. So everything was all right. But, yeah, I was very happy with the outcome because we didn't play that great. But, yeah, what are your thoughts? Tear me up.
So I feel like you purposely avoided talking about Jalen Hurts there so that I couldn't rebuttal anything you said about him.
Did you think I was going to gas him up?
I thought it might be a possibility, you know.
All right, let me take the mic back real quick. The guy had one play. That throw to Saquon in the end zone was beautiful. That was a great play. That is the stuff I want to see. I mean, was he open? Yeah, kind of. But that window, I mean, he threw it in a cookie jar. That's what you want to see. As for the rest of the game, I mean, he made terrible decisions throughout. He had the 2 picks, and it's the playmakers. He got Smitty and he got AJ the ball, and they made guys miss, and they made plays. That's what it was. And if that is what this team is, I'm fine with that. I want Hurts to embrace that role. This is a guy that would have won MVP had he stayed healthy 2 years ago, and I feel like a little bit of that is in him still. Like, I got to do it. It's me. I got to make the plays. And that's not what he needs to do at all. All the pieces are there for him. He just needs to use his brain and distribute and do what the defense is giving him. I want him to be a pocket passer at this point too, because I swear every read option and RPO, it feels like he's making the wrong decision. Like I want to dumb it down. I almost want the Brock Purdy Niners offense, where you got a guy who can't do much with his legs, and last pick in the draft, they went easy with him, and they just let the playmakers make the plays. And the Eagles' offense is built the same way. Like, you got Debo, we got Smitty. You got Ayuk, we got AJ. You got McCaffrey, we got Saquon. Let those guys do the work. That's what I want. Will it happen? I don't know. But that's what I'm rooting for. I was not impressed with Hurts. I really wasn't.
I respect that. That's a
that
very
was woke,
level-headed
wasn't it?
Response there.
Yeah.
That was a very level-headed response.
Does my ass use the mic a little bit? Sure, but I got him on timeout. It's the brain tonight, baby.
Okay, that's good, because that's interesting you say that, though, because I guess it's not even interesting, because it is how I feel. So maybe this is for most of the other Homer Eagles fans that just think Jalen is that dude. He was that dude for 1 year, and he hasn't been that dude any other year. He is not. He is kind of a Lamar situation where he's not quite as good of a runner. He isn't a great passer. He makes some good throws, just like Lamar. Yeah. He does. I agree that Saquon throw was clean. I give him credit there.
Yeah, I agree. I like the comparison, honestly. And Lamar has friggin' 2 MVPs, so Hurts could still get it, baby.
Hurts ain't getting an MVP, bro.
No, probably not.
Let's just be clear about that.
But Saquon and AJ for sure will. No.
Yeah.
There goes the ass.
But yeah, there it is. It's showing right in my face.
Give it a kiss.
But yeah,
bastard.
I think the offense that Hurts will excel in is a little bit. Like we talked about Sam Darnold and Gardner Minshew, like the guys that have a very scripted game for them. They're going to do what they need to do and not make any bad decisions. And Hurts is a little bit better than them, but I feel like that is the kind of quarterback he needs to be. He needs to play within a system, take the decision making out of his hands, because I totally agree. His decision making was horrible on Friday. Yeah. I haven't been impressed by it. Like I said, any other time but that 1 year. That 1 year was great. He was amazing.
Right.
But since then, I just haven't been...
That's the thing, too. Like, that was another case of the second-year quarterback. Like, teams don't have them figured out yet. So a lot of his success probably had to do with that. I mean, yeah, they knew he could run, but for some reason they weren't ready to stop it. And then when the season progressed, then that's all they were worried about stopping. And the guy had easy throws to make. But yeah, like I said, the bottom line is the rest of the pieces are there. I mean, if this was an Eagles offense, like even more similar so to Baltimore's, where like they have some weapons, but it's not elite like the Eagles have. Yeah, I wouldn't mind Hurts taking things into his own hands. But all the pieces are there. He needs to just do what he needs to do to win, and that's not try and do too much. We don't need a Superman. We need there's a fucking. We need Robin. That's what we need. We need Robin. The Eagles got Batmans. We need Robin.
I love that. I love that. I should have just dropped it earlier. But last thing on the Eagles before we switch over to the Packers here is Saquon is an absolute beast. He is a beast. I'm excited to see what he can do outside of the hellhole that is the Giants.
Right.
So
he's got an O-line for the first time since Penn State.
I'm happy he is somewhere where he can excel. So that's what I got to say about the Eagles there. They did earn a gritty win. I didn't like to see it, but they did earn that. So
you were happy for me,
switching over to the Packers, I was not happy for you. I'm never happy when the Eagles win. It just doesn't happen.
Just a little.
I'm miserable, actually.
Like 5% of you was like, that's my boy, you have a good night.
No. Sorry.
Oh, come on, dude.
Negative 5% maybe. The part that doesn't exist.
That's fair. Go Birds.
But Switching over to the Packers a little bit, I think two players I want to talk about there. Jaden Reed, what an animal.
Right.
Awesome game for him. That just ripped up your secondary. And then on to the big thing that happened with like 6 seconds left in the game, a Jordan Love injury. How unfortunate for the Packers. But yet at the same time, I'd say the Packers and Jordan Love came out quite fortunate, because watching that replay, his knee absolutely looked like it straight popped.
Oh, I thought he was done.
So to only be sidelined for, I think they said 3 to 4 weeks is crazy after watching that replay.
I read something earlier on.
Over.
I read something earlier on today, and they even said he's got a shot at playing this week, which I don't expect at all.
That's crazy.
But yeah, just to back up your point there, that this was not a season ender. This was not 8 weeks or anything crazy like that. The Packers will be back, which is good for them, because Malik Willis. But yeah, I think they'll still be in contention by the time the end of the year is done. He's not going to miss a substantial amount of time. And I took a look at their schedule, their upcoming few games. Even if he does miss a week or two, I don't think it will matter too much. They still are they have winnable games. So I wouldn't, if I were them, I would probably rest him a week or two. Because honestly, even with Willis, I think there's a shot they win anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good segue into the next game we're going to talk about here, Lions and the Rammies, because that injury made the Lions' path, just a little bit easier. I never want an injury to happen, but it makes the Lions' path a little bit easier, and I'm not upset about that part.
Right.
So
yeah, what did I text you after the
nice.
Eagles game? I said you're welcome.
You did indeed.
I did.
You did indeed. Yeah.
Which
I think that makes you worse than me.
I know, and I was just going to say, I'm glad you said what you just said, but let's take a moment, let's step back. I obviously want no one to be injured, especially long term, but at the same time, you're welcome.
At the same time, thank you.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
But yeah, so moving on to the Lions and Rams. Oh my gosh, what a stressful game that was, man. It was basically the complete opposite of how I expected that to play out. I think a lot of people will be on the Lions secondary still a little bit, saying that it didn't look great. And don't get me wrong, there's absolutely some room to improve. But from my perspective, we looked way better than we did last year. Brian Branch was great. Terrion Arnold definitely has a bit of a learning curve.
Oh, yeah.
Going to the NFL.
He likes holding.
Way too many.
He's grabby.
Way too many flags thrown. So he's got some learning to do there. But Carlton Davis looked good, so I was happy about that. Melifonwu was going to come back later in the year, hopefully. And honestly, I was okay with the defensive performance. There's definitely room to improve, but it wasn't bad, especially given how little our offense was able to move the ball and how much time the defense had to spend on the field. Right. I was pretty happy with what they did there. So really no complaints for me, and I think they'll keep continuing to get better. The bigger thing for me, and I'm not really worried about it because I think the Lions offense will figure it out, but boy, did they look terrible. They looked absolutely awful. Amon-Ra St. Brown, completely uninvolved.
Yep.
Sam Laporta,
pretty much
basically
uninvolved.
Invisible.
Yeah.
Yep. So thank you to Jamison Williams, David Montgomery, and Jahmyr Gibbs for carrying those backpacks full of all the other Lions players and getting us that dub, because it was needed. I'm feeling very good about my Jamison Williams breakout pick from episode 1.
I bet
He was looking pretty
he
fantastic.
He was definitely a bright spot for sure.
Absolutely. Jahmyr Gibbs did his normal stuff. Goffey did make some bad decisions, some iffy throws, so I'm looking for some improvement out of him there. But I've got faith. And David Montgomery, what a guy.
What a G.
First off, I honestly I was happy we took it to overtime because I was a little bit worried there, but got it there, and then David Montgomery and the offensive line as well, they deserve their credit, just took over in overtime.
Yep.
I think the field could have been 500 yards, and we could have handed it off to David Montgomery every time and gotten to the end zone.
Yeah, I agree.
No problem at all. Absolutely no problem.
Those are all great things to see. So, in essence, kind of a similar recap to what I had for the Birds. Lions, a very good team, didn't really play like it, but still handled a good team that they were facing. Are the Rams contenders like the Packers maybe are? Probably not, but they are a very solid team, no doubt about it. And like you said, Lions didn't look great, and they still managed to win. And one thing I always look for, much like the Eagles in their latest Super Bowl run where we lost to the Chiefs, ouch, we put teams away end of games. They can hang almost the entire game, but when you get those last possessions of the game, you just dominate and you put them away with a run. And that's exactly what the Lions did, and I think that's very promising. Like you said, and I agree, that field could have been 500 yards, and I think you guys would have just ran it down their throat till it went in the end zone. And that is a great sign. I think the Lions will definitely make noise, and we both predict that. And yeah, I think we're right there. They're going to be a really good team, and they're going to be tough to beat because this was not their best showing, and they came out on top against a really good team.
Yeah, and I mean, there's got to be some credit given to the Rams here as well because Matthew Stafford played freaking awesome. He was just awesome.
And we praised him so much last episode, but he deserves it all. He's just a stud, and he's so tough. Like the hits he takes, and he just continues to move on, and he's ready to take another. And some of his throws are just unbelievable. Like the one play, the man literally was factoring in the fact that he was going to get hit before his follow through happened. And
the crossbody to the
yes,
left
and
throw
like
that he
just
made? That
yes,
was crazy.
and just like adjusted for it. Like I'm gonna get cracked here. I'm not gonna be able to follow through, so I need to aim the ball here. Like he's amazing at that. And I mean, and he's getting a little cocky too. I saw there was it was like a fourth down, I think. It was like 4th and 2 or something, and he's throwing no look passes to like a wide open guy. Like unnecessary, dude. Let's keep the drive going. But he's like, I'm going to flex on him real quick.
This is why I love Matthew Stafford. That is why I love Matthew Stafford. That guy might be the toughest quarterback I've ever watched. I mean, especially the amount of times he got absolutely cracked on the line.
My opinion, he definitely is. And he may be the toughest player, honestly.
Yeah.
He may just be the toughest.
That's very fair. Very fair. Yeah. He's awesome. And the last thing I want to get in about the Rams is Cooper Kupp might be back. Yeah. That boy looked good. He looked good.
He did. And even with Puka going down, which that sucks. Really hope. I think that was a similar injury to Jordan Love, or actually I think it was just a nagging injury from the offseason with his knee, is what I heard.
Yeah, I think he came back too soon, honestly. I just don't think he was ready.
Right, exactly. But yeah, I hope he comes back, but Kupp was great from the start, and then even with Nakua out, he continued to be Kupp, and I'm all about it. I'm very happy he's back because, my gosh, is he fun to watch. I mean, that one catch on the sideline, like, how does he do it, dude?
I was in so much pain when he made that catch. That just shouldn't
but as a football fan, part of you was like, unreal.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong.
I'm sure you were mad at the same time.
Damn, a hell of a catch, but also why?
Yeah.
Why now?
Because that's Cooper Kupp, man.
It
He's
is
still
Cooper
different.
Kupp, but yeah, Lions got the win at home, and looking forward to next week. But yeah, so last primetime game discussed here, 49ers Jets. That was That was the worst of the primetime games for sure.
It was.
It
We were getting
certainly
spoiled.
It never looked a doubt. Once the 49ers took the lead, they absolutely controlled that game. Aaron Rodgers struggled to get going. Breece
Right.
Hall
It
wasn't
was-
running the ball effectively. It was
For
just
me, watching this game,
49ers all-
it was all about up front. It was the line of scrimmage. Niners dominated on offense, and they dominated on defense. And the Jets line just couldn't do anything about it. I mean, Rodgers didn't have time, and like you said, Hall could never get it going. As much as Rodgers had a pass rush in his face, they also were stuffing the run. So they're very versatile, and that's not what I wanted to see. But and then it was the same way on the other side of the ball. I mean, the holes Mason was running through they were great, and Mason looked really good. But at the same time, the holes were there. And this Jets D line should be something. Even with Reddick holding out, I expected more from their defensive line, and it just wasn't there. I mean, the O line was getting right to the second level, and I mean, they were paving lanes that a freaking 18-wheeler could drive through. It was ridiculous. And then you get a back Mason into the secondary. I mean, and most running backs in the league, you get them into the secondary, big things are going to happen. And they did happen.
Oh, they did happen. I mean, I think it was like 147 and a touchdown or something like that. He had
gross.
hell of a game. Hell of a game stepping in for CMC. But I just, in general, the offensive lines don't get enough credit ever. Just ever. They're so overlooked.
Hey, I know it.
You're so right.
I played it.
This
I was
game,
overlooked. The trauma.
This game was won by the 49ers offensive line and the 49ers defensive line. You're so right. It was in the trenches. The Jets lost both battles. I also was surprised to see. I mean, I'm not so surprised about the offensive line of the Jets, but the defensive line, I did expect a bit more resistance from them, to be honest. Because bringing in Reddick, they didn't really lose anything. He was just going to be an addition on top of what they did have.
Well, they lost tough to the Eagles, but yeah, I agree. And his play share, it was like 30% maybe last year for the Jets.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. It was an addition. They should have had that good D line that I was expecting to see, and yeah, we just didn't see it. Or maybe the Niners O line is just that good. I mean, I feel like the Jets could bounce back and still have a good season. It's just a really tough Week 1 matchup.
Oh, absolutely. So let's move on to some of the normal Sunday games. You got a place you want to start? Game you want to start off with?
Yeah. Let's start with, this one's interesting. I want to start with the Commanders. The Jaden Daniel, or I shouldn't even phrase it this way. The dumb rule in the NFL is what we will call this one. So Jaden Daniels is on the 1-yard line, and they're punching in a touchdown here. And he just kind of turns his back to the goal line, and he starts backpedaling, pushing his way in. And his helmet comes off, and he continues to push, and finally goes down, but he crosses the plane, and it's a touchdown. And it wasn't a touchdown. Why, you might ask? Because his helmet came off. There is a rule in the NFL. The second your helmet comes off and you are a ball carrier, the play is dead. That is so dumb. The whistles didn't blow during this play. Jaden Daniels is still pushing, fighting, without a helmet, getting hit in the head, falls into the end zone, and scores a touchdown, and you're going to take that off because his helmet came off? I mean, the damage was done. It's not like they're blowing the whistle immediately and then, Tampa Bay picks him up and pats him on the back and says, "Oh, gee golly, we almost hurt your head. Sorry, bud." Like, it's so stupid. But yeah, I want to start there because that was crap. And I want to know how you feel about this rule because I just can't wrap my head around it. If the play's going to go on until the guy hits the ground anyway, why wouldn't you count it?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm kind of in the middle on this one. So I think the referees here probably screwed up. They probably were supposed to blow the whistle as soon as that helmet popped off. First point. I think the refs screwed that up there. The whistle probably should have been blown.
And that's fair, but let's keep in mind,
yeah.
this is live speed or whatever. This is all happening in 2 seconds.
Oh,
Go on.
totally understand. I think the more important point is this was magnified because it was right by the end zone and he was going into the end zone. But let's say
that's true, and it's a scoring play,
line.
so it would be reviewed anyhow, and all of that good stuff. But sorry, go on.
Yeah. No, so let's say they're on the 30-yard line of their own side of the field. You got a receiver who's going across the middle, catches the pass, takes a pop right after he catches it, and helmet pops off. Well, now he's sitting at the 50 yards to still try to run, the entire defense chasing after him, and his helmet's off. So I think that's probably the purpose of the rule. I think it's unfortunate for Jaden Daniels that it happened on a play where he was going into the end zone and did finish in the end zone without a whistle being blown. But I think there's a good thought process behind it, just kind of a shitty situation when it came up.
Yeah, and that is fair. I do see your point there, but even still, I don't get it. I really don't. Like, it's football, these things happen. I don't get it. And I feel like it might be a new rule because we see it happen all the time. And if it happens on the defensive side of the ball, you think they're stopping the play? Because I don't. I've seen plenty of tackles made without a helmet.
No, I mean, you did say ball carrier is the rule, right?
So I think.
I wouldn't fall underneath that. Okay.
No, you're right. But I think that's the rule. That's why I said it that way, because we've seen it that way in the past. But my main point is, what's the difference? This is a guy who's no longer shielded from head trauma playing football without a helmet. Obviously there's a difference because the ball carrier has a target on his back. Everyone wants to kill him.
That's exactly what I was going to say. And not that any defender in the world would ever do this, but the defender has the decision to continue to get physical on that play without their helmet or peel out. So I think that's the difference there. All of these NFL players, they're probably going to keep on going. But
it's a good thing Vontaze Burfict is out of the league because he would make that decision.
You're telling me he'd have actual bodies to his name. There would be dead people from the NFL if that meant. Like, I'm so serious.
No, I know. That's why I name dropped him. He's
Antonio
a nasty
Brown.
man.
That's all that needs to be said about that man.
Right.
Antonio Brown, I think I genuinely believe, little side tangent there, I really think Antonio Brown is the way he is today because of that Vontaze Burfict hit. I do not think he was ever the same after that.
Yeah, I mean, checks out with the storyline, that's for sure.
But let's move on. Buccaneers got the win there. Jaden Daniels looked pretty good for his first game, but still took the L. But there's room to grow. There's some potential there. But let's move on to the most surprising game in the NFL for me this past weekend.
For everyone.
We both
crazy.
Made so much fun of the Patriots last week.
Hey, we forgot how the Bengals start the season. They lost to the Giants, I think it was last year or maybe the year before. They dropped week 1 to the Giants, and the Giants were the Giants, so... But I got to stop making fun of teams. Now I'm making fun of the Giants are going to win by 50, so...
As long as they do that when they play the Eagles, I'm good with it.
God.
But anyways, so that game was crazy. Bengals looked like absolute garbage. Absolute garbage.
And they have some excuses, I will say. They have some excuses. Higgins did not play. Chase is brand new. Obviously, I'm sure there are plays from last year and all. Like, I'm sure he knew a handful of the playbook. But, whenever a guy gets thrown in like that, you can't expect much from him. And then to not have Higgins, and then no more Mixon, who also, quick shout-out, had a phenomenal game with the Texans. But, no more Mixon, no Higgins, and Chase, a week playing football again? So,
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly am kind of shocked we didn't foresee it being close. We shouldn't have. Us picking the Bengals was not obviously stupid. That was something that everyone would have picked. But us making fun of the Pats was probably a little dumb because this is a team that always plays good defense and that keeps them in games. And for the Bengals to not have Higgins, no more Mixon, and Chase being new, we should have expected it to be close. But yeah, Pats freaking won, and
Yeah.
it was easy for them.
They did. No, it was. It was. Bengals did not put up any resistance on offense.
Yeah.
Joe Shiesty, he's clearly got to fix some things. I don't know if you saw this, but he was on the sideline a few times playing with his wrist. Might be still a
I
little
didn't see
uncomfortable
that.
there.
That's
Yeah,
alarming.
so I'm kind of curious to see how that plays out the rest of the year because if he's not back to 100%, they could be in trouble. They could be in
Yeah.
trouble. Maybe that's why he's got the frosted tips on his hair now.
It's to
try
distract
to
them from his wrist.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. But cool. I think we should move on to our week 2 picks. And
Yeah.
before we
Let's do
make
it.
those picks, let's do a quick recap from last week. We picked
If we
5
must.
different games last week, and I came out on top. I had 11 out of
did.
16 games correct, Kris with 10 out of 16. So going into week 2, I have a 1-game lead in our competition for an NFL ticket to a game next year. So yeah, let's get right into it. Game 1 of the week, Bills-Dolphins.
So I have the Dolphins here, home matchup, division matchup. A lot of times in divisions with these two close, good teams, I have the home team coming out on top, and I did that here. Dolphins with the dub.
Yeah, I went Bills here. This one was really
Okay.
hard. I went back and forth, but ultimately I didn't necessarily like what I saw out of the Dolphins last week. I didn't really like what I saw out of the Bills either, but I think the Bills are going to take this one.
Okay.
Moving on, Dallas versus New Orleans, and I've got Dallas again.
Yeah, I've got Dallas too. Yeah, no doubt about
Chris
it.
picked
there,
Dallas.
Honestly.
Oh my gosh, everybody.
Yeah.
That
They're at
is
home. They're at home. They're
crazy.
the better team. Let's move on. I don't want to talk about that one
Chris
any
said
longer
Dallas
than I
wins.
have to.
Yep. Next game, Lions-Bucks. I have got the Lions in that one.
Yeah, me too. This was Lions at home again, so yeah, Lions for sure.
Yep. Next game, got the Colts and the Packers. I probably would have went Packers if Jordan Love was healthy and playing, but with Malik Willis under center, got to go Colts here.
Yeah, I agree, especially with them coming off the loss as a team that's not going to want to lose 2 in a row. But I agree. Like I said, there's a chance Love plays. They have him listed as doubtful. I don't think he's going to play this one. I got Colts.
There's no way.
Yeah,
That would just be so dumb for a guy you just signed to an insanely massive contract to rush
Exactly.
him back so quick.
yeah. And Colts look good.
You'll be
Gave
fine.
the Texans
Yeah, they
a
did.
run for their
They
money.
did.
So, yeah, I got Colts.
Jets-Titans. I've got the Jets in that one.
Yeah, me too. Titans are at home, but kind of like what I just said with the Packers, Jets are going to be one of them teams too that losing 2 games in a row is going to be really tough for them. And they're the better team. They are away, but yeah, I got Jets.
Yeah, and I mean, Titans didn't necessarily look great in week 1.
No, they lost
So
to a
they led
defense and a special teams.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly.
Go Bears, though.
Exactly.
Da Bears.
Yeah. Up next, we got the 49ers and the Vikings. I went with the 49ers here.
That's a shocker. No, I'm kidding. Niners. That's got to be
Seahawks and Patriots. I might be throwing caution into the wind here, but I did pick against the Pats again.
Yeah, I did
I went
too.
with the Seahawks. Yeah.
I went with the
So,
Seahawks. They're not the Bengals. It's different.
Yeah, it's going to be...
No, I think that'll be a
Pats
good
win
game,
that.
though. I took some time on that one, especially after week 1. Because I didn't think the Seahawks looked too impressive either.
No,
And
I
the
agree.
Pats are at
I
home.
agree.
But, yeah, that was a tough one, but I went Seahawks.
All right, Giants and Commanders. I think that the Commanders will take this one.
Me too. Home team in the division matchup. Yeah, I got the Commanders.
Yep. Chargers versus the fringe NFL team Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, I have
Bet
Chargers.
you can guess who I went with.
Yeah.
I also went with the Chargers. What a depressing showing from the Panthers last week.
Yeah.
They look terrible still. I was
Yeah,
hoping they were going to be a little better.
Right. And there's obviously time. It's just week 1. But, yeah, after watching that, how could you pick them to win this matchup? So I won't.
Yep.
Go Chargers.
This next one I found a bit difficult. The Browns and the Jaguars. I ended up siding with the AFC North Cleveland Browns in this game.
Okay. Yeah, this was a tough one for me, too. Both teams, I don't think, looked very good. I mean, Jags had the Dolphins. They really did. And they hurt themselves a bunch and just left the door open. But they are at home with all this Deshaun Watson stuff looming around. I went Jags.
Yep, that's sensible. Like I said, took some back and forth, so
Totally.
I'm not totally against that. Up next, we got the Raiders and the Ravens. Pretty easy decision for me here. Ravens are probably going to be a little pissed about their Week 1 loss, and I think
100%.
they're going to come out and destroy the Raiders.
Yeah, I don't see this one being close. I have the Ravens as well.
Yep. We got Rams and Cardinals next. This was another difficult one for me, but
Yeah.
I ended up going with the Cardinals, actually.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I ended up going with the Rams, but I agree. Division matchup, they're going to see each other twice. This is the Cardinals' home one, and I thought they looked pretty good. But I also don't really know what to make of that Bills team this year, not yet anyway. But, yeah, I ended up going Rams, but I could totally see that going the other way.
Yep. Just a few more left here. Up next, we got the Steelers and the Broncos. And unlike last week, I sided with the Steelers in this one.
Yeah, I did too. Steelers, why I went with them last week, that defense and that new situation in Atlanta. And here with Denver, we got a new situation, and we have a rookie quarterback. And I would hate to be a rookie quarterback going up against that defense. I mean, I'm sure Bo Nix hasn't been getting any sleep thinking about T.J. Watt. There's no way. He's going to be sleep deprived. He's going to make mistakes. And I think it's going to be enough for the Steelers, especially if they go with Fields. That running ability and kind of like we actually talked about it over FaceTime. The Steelers just kind of dumbing it down for Fields a bit and, just giving him a simple offense and just do enough to win. Don't put us in a spot, basically. We're not going to ask you to make any crazy plays. Get your legs going when you can, and it should be enough. I got the Steelers.
Yep. Next game, Bengals-Chiefs. After what I saw out of those teams last week, this was a tenth of a second pick. Went Chiefs.
Yeah, I went Chiefs as well. I wouldn't be surprised if it's somewhat of a game, though. I know Shiesty, he's not going to be happy with that, and he's going to have Chase along for another week. I think Higgins will be back, too. I could be wrong there, but I expect him to be back. And, yeah, I think it'll be a better showing, but it's the Chiefs, and they're at home. So, yeah, I got the Chiefs.
Yep. Bears-Texans. Had to go with the Texans here. I don't think that the Bears' defense and special teams is going to put up another 24 points. And the Texans' offense is a little bit better than
Tennessee.
Tennessee's.
Einstein. You're Einstein. How could you predict that the Bears wouldn't score that much with their defense and special teams? No, yeah, I have Texans. That, again, is a nasty matchup for a rookie quarterback. And they're away on top of it. So, yeah, I have Texans. I don't think that one will be too close.
Yep. And for the Monday night game, I will let you lead here. Falcons, Eagles. Who you got?
Eagles, come on. And I'll actually be at this game. So if you hear any fan cheering while you're watching the game, it's me because I'm going to scream so freaking loud. Go Birds. We got Big Dick Nick retiring Monday night. I'm super hyped to see that. Not that they're going to show it to us, but, you know. But yeah, I'm super excited for
I'm sure if you
excited for the game.
send a question to the Eagles asking if they'll show it, I'm sure they'll give you what you want. So.
No, I'm sure we'll see, an imprint or something, Hopefully he's wearing tight pants. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah.
Is there going to be like a plaque in your locker room and a cement wall where he just stuck it right into the wet cement?
That'd be awesome, dude. They just take down the Philly special statue and they just have that instead. That's great. But yeah, I have Eagles. Falcons clearly have a lot to figure out still. So do the Eagles, but I mean they figured it out against the Packers in Brazil, of all places. So to then figure out the Falcons at home, first home game of the year, yeah, I like the Birds. Not the dirty ones. The Bird gang.
Yeah, I reluctantly went with the Eagles in that game as well because I want to kick your ass in this competition.
Yeah, I was going to say,
but
you know better.
I am a Falcons fan Monday night, big time, baby.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's
now you know
Dirty
both
Birds.
of us would be getting it wrong. So, yeah, I'm sure you're going to go that way.
Exactly. I'm fine. If we're both wrong, doesn't matter to me, man. And then I'll go through. If that happens, I'm gonna FaceTime you. I don't even care that you're there. You don't pick up. I'm gonna record myself and send you a video
you want me to
you
just want me to see the missed call. Oh,
exactly.
Dude.
Exactly.
That's just filthy.
Yeah, you have to be sometimes. But anyways, everybody, thank you again for joining us and giving us a listen. It was super fun. We are so excited for week 2 in the NFL, and we will be back with you next week to recap and look forward to the next week's games. See you, everybody.
Later, PCC.